So again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. I hope you all are faring well. You're welcome to Career Chats with Nangla, which is a platform that allows us to address different career-related topics that would help professionals grow through their career dreams. So if you're here today, this is what we're all about. What we do is to support you through achieving your career goals, be it through monthly webinars like we are doing right away, or career coaching, mentorship, preparing you for your job interviews, job applications. This is what Career Chat with Nangla does. And today, here on to one of our webinars, and we are more than happy to be having two of our guests with us today, where we will be discussing a very pertinent topic that speaks to an introduction to research, writing abstracts, and conference papers. So if you're here today, I'm happy to let you know this is going to be our topic for discussion today. So again, like I told you, I promised I am not going to take a lot of your time. So this is going to be the rundown for today. I just welcomed you. So the next thing we have on our agenda will be to introduce to you who our guests for today are. They would go straight into the presentation, but also there is going to be an opportunity for you to ask your questions or even make contributions. And right after that, we are going to get your feedback. We are going to drop in the chat a form, which would expect you to fill to provide us with your feedback. After which, in the days ahead, we're going to be sharing with you your attestations for attendance. So please, we always wish that you help us fill this form so as to allow us improve subsequent sessions. So, and then help us provide you your attestations. So please fill your correct name on the Google form we're going to be sharing in the chat, because that's the same name that would appear on your attestation of attendance. So once again, if you're joining us today, or if you've been joining us before, this is to say very warm welcome. Welcome back again, and thank you so much for joining us today. So before I proceed to the introductions, please kindly mute your microphone if you're not speaking. This would just be some housekeeping rules. Kindly use the chat in sharing your contributions. Even if you have a question, feel comfortable adding your question to the chat. We would always read through and respond to your questions at the end of the presentation. And then we also wish that at the beginning, kindly use the chat again, introducing yourself. Your introduction should consist of your name, where you're joining us today from, your profession, and then the URL link to your LinkedIn profile. That way we can grow, we can connect with people even beyond the webinar. So with that being said, for the ground rules, or say the housekeeping rules, let's go into discovering who our guests are, right? So just give me a minute. Okay, so let's get into knowing who our guests for today are. I'm going to start off by introducing Dr. Chukumbana Faith Okere. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and let me let you know who Dr. Faith is. He is a medical doctor with a strong interest in academic surgery, cervical oncology, and translational cancer research. He has participated in clinical and research training across multiple institutions and is actively involved in collaborative research aimed at improving cancer care. Dr. Ikeri serves as a research associate at Sankofa Research and Mentorship Hub and is an executive board member of the Medical Student Committee of the Society of Black Academic Surgeons. He is also a member of the American College of Surgeons, Society of Surgical Oncology, and American Society of Breast Surgeons. He is very passionate about advancing surgical oncology through research, mentorship, and international collaboration. So again, thank you very much. We call him in brief Mbana. Dr. Mbana, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you doing? What do you want
I'm
to
good,
say?
thank you. It's a pleasure being here today, speaking to everyone here today, and I hope we'll make something great out of the section.
Nice.
Yeah,
Definitely. I'm trusting you, and I know it's definitely going to be great. So, thank you so much for coming, and we're more than happy having you today. So, with that, I would move on directly to introducing our next guest, uh, Mr. Stephen. Mr. Stephen Jesufemi Taiwo, thank you very much for coming, and we're more than happy having you today. So, who is Mr. Stephen Jesufemi? Um, he actually holds a Master's of Arts in Political Science and Public Administration and a Bachelor's of Science in Political Science. He is a public policy specialist and interdisciplinary researcher whose work focuses on sustainable development, governance, climate finance, environmental politics, social justice, and the intersections of public policy and democratic governance. So he currently serves as a program coordinator and contributing researcher at Sankofa Research and Mentorship Hub, which is a nonprofit African organization dedicated to evidence-based research, policy advocacy, mentorship, and transdisciplinary collaboration. Um, his research has been presented at academic and professional conferences and has contributed to peer review publications and policy oriented commentaries on contemporary governance and sustainability issues. He's a chartered accountant and member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, otherwise called ICANN. So Stephen brings a multidisciplinary perspective that bridges public policy, governance, and financial accountability. He is deeply committed to advancing evidence-informed policymaking, strengthening institutional capacity, and supporting professional development through research and mentorship. In addition to that, his current research examines the role of sustainable urban agriculture in fostering participatory governance and strengthening deliberative democratic practices in urban communities with a broader interest in developing practical evidence-based solutions to complex public policy challenges. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen, for joining us today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you for having me here today. And I'm looking forward to sharing my insight to the discourse that we have in front of us today. Thank you.
Thank
Can
you
you hear me?
very much. Thank you
Okay.
so, so much.
Yeah.
Dr. Mbana, Mr. Stephen, thank you very much for coming. You are a great pair. And again, this is my opportunity to say many thanks to Sankofa, our partner, through which I was able to contact you both. Thank you very much for accepting to join us today and to generously share your knowledge on this subject. So, without taking a lot of time, I am going to make you host, Dr. Mana. I'm going to make you host so that you go ahead and share the presentation, then later on to Stephen and colleagues and participants. Thank you very much for joining. If you're joining for your very first time or you just joined before we did the introductions, please kindly use the chat in introducing yourself The presentation is going to follow. It's going to be both practical and theoretical. We wish that you're able to follow through, and then both of them will take your questions just at the end, your questions and contributions just at the end. And then we would have a Google form that would allow you give us your session feedback, but also your name through which we would be able to send out your attestation for participation. So thank you very much. And I am passing it over to Dr. Chukumbana, who's going to be the host moving forward. So, Dr. Bana, please kindly look at this thing is going to pop up every time when we have new people joining. So kindly admit them as they're joining. So, Taiwo, if it's passed on to you as the session goes on, please kindly admit people as they come in. It will pop up on your screen.
All right, all right.
Okay,
Sure.
great. Let's go.
Okay. Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen. Okay, so we're gonna start now. Um, so today, we're just gonna introduce the foundations of research and research rights, and this is gonna be like a 2-day course or 2-day webinar, where we'll talk about research, writing abstracts, and conference papers. For the abstracts and conference paper, will mostly be taken care of in the second session. This first session is just getting familiar with the basics of research. What is research? I know people think of research like, oh, it's this big thing that should be done by just professors, lab scientists, or people who are experts in this field. But it just basically starts from having the curiosity and having a question, checking what's the gap, and trying to answer that question in a systematic way. This is basically what research is. And it's just for us to get familiar with it and not see it as a big deal. And I would actually love to see in the chats, like to know what your experience with research is. Have you been involved in the research previously? This is your first time hearing about research. Do you have a research idea that it's been bothering you, but you don't know how to proceed? We'd love to see that in the chat as well while I proceed. So yeah, uh, the first thing is, what is research? We see the word research, but what is it actually? So and it's a systematic, objective, and scientific process of investigating questions to generate new knowledge or solve to solve problems. So the thing with this is each word here is very important, starting from systematic to objective. They are important words because they explain something. We don't just go look for random information on the internet or something like that. No, we do this in an organized plan. We begin with a problem, and then we define this question, and then we select an appropriate method, collect the data, analyze it, and then we report the findings. That's why research is done in a very systematic way. Now, research should be objective. We're humans, we have different biases, we have different opinions, we have different ways we see things, but research should be done in a way that's in an objective way where bias is going to be limited. This is characteristics of research. Research should be empirical in the sense that its conclusions should be connected to observable evidence, such as measurements, interviews, laboratory findings, and things like that. Having a strong opinion is not the same thing as evidence. We need to actually search what's the evidence backing this up. This is why we reference things multiple times during research, because we need to have evidence. Research is evidence driven, it's not opinion driven. Research should be logical. It should be logical in the question. The question should be logical. The method, the analysis, all this should be logical, and it should be ethical in the sense that there are different uh, meanings to ethics in research, which Mr. Stephen is going to take care of later on. Uh, Research should be ethical at all times. You ensure you're doing no harm. You should ensure like you've taken a proper IRB approval before doing your research and everything. And research should be replicable in the sense that your methodology, when doing it, you need to pick up your stuff and be able to replicate that methods you had and still get the same results you achieved. Research should be replicable. Now, what's the importance of research? Without research, the world would be advanced to where it is now. Research is important in a lot of innovations we've gotten so far in the world, in medicine, in the field of humanities, public health, and everything. Research is important because it advances knowledge, it drives innovation. We have policies. I know a lot of people here are into like, gender, human rights, medicine, politics, climate change. We have policies in these different fields. Without research, our policies are not going to be informed, our policies are not going to progress. Research is important for that. Now, let's talk about the research process. The process is not scattered. We have a process of doing research. The first thing is identifying a problem. If there's no problem, how would there be a solution? We need a problem to find a solution. Of course, it's not the other way. We don't have a solution and find the problem. No, it's not done that way. We need to find a research, identify a problem. Oh, for example, we're having a climate problem currently in this city. That's a problem, but it's too broad to do a research on. You need to do a literature review. What's the essence of the literature review? To see the evidence that's already out there, to find the evidence that's out there on this problem you have. Oh, what has been published? Are there other people in different regions experiencing this problem? After you identify a problem, you need to do a literature review to map out the evidence, what's already out there on this. Now, when you've done this, you can be able to find a specific question on this research. You find a specific question that you want to pursue, because you can't just say, oh, there's flooding in this area. That's just a broad question. You need to find out, okay, what is the cause of this flooding in this area at this specific time? That's a specific research question that you can easily pursue. Now you need to find the right methodology. Some people, you can't just start research with saying, okay, I want to do a survey. Oh, I want to do a cross-sectional study. I want to do a mixed method study. No, it's not done that way. Your methodology should be based on your research question. If it's not based on the research question, or you have your methodology first without your research question, this is a basic flaw people, have in their research, and you see them struggling. That's that. Now, after you have a method, you say, okay, I want to do a quantitative research. Don't worry, these terms are going to be explained in the later slides. The next thing you do is to collect data. Okay, I want to do a survey, I'm going to go out. Oh, I want to do a retrospective study, I'm going to go back and gather information based on the available data from an institution or so. After you've collected your data, the next thing you do is to analyze the data. Then you interpret your findings. You say, okay, I've seen that the cause of this flood is probably due to a leakage from somewhere or that. Then you report your findings and disseminate it. This is how research is done multiple times, regardless of the field, regardless of the type of study. It always follows this cycle. And after you disseminate that finding, you see this is a cycle in the sense that you can find a new problem again and you continue. Now, one thing with this is um, for you to move through the cycle effectively, more than the ability, you need more than the ability to read papers. You also need research literacy. So what is research literacy? It's the ability to locate, evaluate, interpret, and apply research evidence in practice. So you need to be able to read scientific literature. You need to be able to find evidence when you read scientific literature. You need to be able to assess credibility of sources. Not everything published out there is credible. You need to be able to see a paper or a published article and be like, okay, this is credible. You need to know, okay, this source, I know I'm getting my papers from this particular source and it's always credible. You need to be able to understand the study methods. You need to know the different type of study methods. You need to know, okay, this study method, it answer the question I'm looking for? This study method I want to apply to my study. Will it answer that question? Will it be able to map out all the evidence I'm looking for? You need to be able to interpret statistics. Nobody's saying you should be an advanced statistician, but you need to be able to interpret statistics and all that. You need to be able to identify bias and see the limitations in studies and in your own study as well. And you need to be able to apply evidence. Even high quality evidence must be considered in relation to the local population, available resources, patient preferences, and professional judgment. So research literacy is important because if you don't know research, if you don't understand research, you basically you won't be able to conduct your own research properly. You will be able basically just pushing garbage out. So let's go to the next thing. When doing research, we don't want it's basically good to focus on a particular niche. It's not okay, today you're investigating climate, tomorrow, oh, you're in gender, next tomorrow, you're in politics, the next 2 days, oh, you're in health. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to find your own research niche. So, research niche is the area in which your interests, your developing expertise, and an important knowledge gap overlap. It is more focused than a broad discipline. It does not have to be so narrow that only a project is possible. It should be something broad. Okay, if I say today that I want to focus on cancer research, that's so broad. Like there's a lot of stuff in cancer research. If I still say I want to focus on breast cancer surgery as my niche for research, okay, it's more focused, but it's still not a research niche. But if I say tomorrow, okay, I want to focus on axillary de-escalations, I'm into the medical field, so I'll use more of medical examples sometimes. So this is just a random example. If I want to focus on axillary de-escalation in breast surgery, now this is a research niche. I can focus on this, and then with this, I can be able to answer, like find out different problems in this. This is my expertise. I will be able to find out multiple gaps, and based on this, develop multiple research questions. I can conduct multiple research on this. So one thing you should know is a good research topic should be relevant. We're not, the world is moving so fast. We are not trying to, you shouldn't push out a work that was relevant 2015, we're in 2026. If you push that out, you're basically adding nothing to the academic space. You're just adding garbage or adding information that is already out there. Your information should be novel. It should be novel in the sense that it should be new. It should add something new, something people haven't really explored. It should be feasible in as much as we have big dreams. Check out, okay, can I really carry out this methodology? This research question, do I have the resources to carry this out and all that? It should be feasible. Next thing you want to check is your research should be significant. What you're doing should be able to solve a problem. It should be able to address an urgency, a state of urgency. Like we should able to see it, be able to see that. And also your research should be ethical, which I said Mr. Stephen will talk about later. Now, we now know what research is. We now know, okay, I have how to find my research niche, what is research literacy, and all that. Now we need to classify research. So I love starting from this because there are different classifications of research. But if you start from this, you'll be able to understand what we're talking about. We have primary research and we have secondary research. What's primary research? Primary research involves collecting original data from participants, records, observations, or experiments. Examples include surveys, focus groups, and all that. This one, you go and you collect your data yourself. Sorry. And defining feature of primary research is that the research team is generating or directly collecting the data used to answer the questions. Now we have secondary research. Secondary research uses existing evidence instead of recruiting new participants or collecting data, going into the field to collect data. We already use the available evidence out there, and then we synthesize this evidence and report it. Examples include narrative reviews, scoping reviews, meta-analysis, umbrella reviews, um, systematic reviews, meta-analysis, and all that. These are types of secondary research. Now, you can see a comparison table here, showing the general distinction between primary and secondary research. For the data, in primary research, we generate original data, but in secondary research, we just use existing evidence. In primary research generates new knowledge, while secondary research just synthesizes the knowledge that's already out there. Primary research can be time intensive and it's usually more expensive because of you need to have like a good budget sometimes and all that. And then we have this secondary research which can be faster and it's usually lower cost because you just check and you have to just maybe go online, search what's out there, and then you synthesize that. That's one great difference we have with this. Now, we have primary research can be classified in different ways. So, for primary research, one way we can classify is by purpose. We can classify also by method and by the study design. By
Hi,
purpose,
Dr.
we have,
Bana. Hi,
yeah,
Dr. Bana. Can you hear me? Please kindly let people in as a join. I guess we have like 2 or 3 people waiting in the waiting room.
one moment. It requires me like exiting this, but I'll try.
No, just click on the participants. Just click on where you have participants.
Just one moment, please.
Okay, if you can't find them, that's fine.
No,
So as we
I've
transition,
admitted them.
perfect, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah. All right. So, back to where we left off. So, primary research can be divided based on the purpose, method, and study design. So, based on purpose, it can be divided into basic, translational, and applied research. So, basic research basically is, you know, you're trying to you're in the lab or somewhere you divide like you're trying to develop like find something like I'm trying to see how to put this. You go to the lab, you have a question, and then you just try to answer it, or which biomedical process leads to this, but you're not moving this to the clinical part. You're not trying to translate this to the next phase. This is basically what research is. It's just you're trying to find, okay, what biological mechanism is behind this without any immediate clinical application. There's no clinical application to this. Meanwhile, translational research bridges the gap between basic research and applied research. So it's you go to the lab, you fix up something, and then you apply it after finding out whatever that is, you apply it in the clinical setting. But in applied research, we can also be called clinical research sometimes. You just go straight, okay, I want to conduct a clinical trial, trying to find out this and that. So that's applied research. Now we have by methods, we have quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. With quantitative research, you use numerical and measurable data to estimate frequencies, compare groups, or test associations. That's what quantitative research is all about. With qualitative research, you're trying to explore meanings, we're trying to explore experience, behaviors, and all that. And with mixed method, we combine both the quantitative and qualitative research. Now, by the study design, we have observational studies and experimental studies. With observational studies, we have different methods. We have the cross-sectional, case control, case reports, case series. And for experimental studies, we have RCT and the rest of them. This, for example, we can have a quantitative research that's also an observational research. So this can also be mixed. It's not like, okay, if it's quantitative, it can be observational. It can work both ways. It can work hand in hand. Now, let's go to the next one, which is choosing the appropriate research approach. So when choosing the appropriate research approach, we have different factors influencing design. We need to see the research objectives. What are the things you plan on achieving at the end of the research? What is the nature of the problem? You need to have a clearly measurable association. And is it suitable for quantitative analysis? Is it suitable for qualitative analysis? You need to think about this. What type of data is required? This will also determine what approach you want to take. The resources that are available. Do you have the resources to conduct a cohort study? Or maybe the resources you have is just enough for cross-sectional research. This is another thing you need to consider. Another thing to consider also is the time frame. Do you have enough time for this? Will you need more time? This also influence the approach you want to take. And also the ethical consideration. Sometimes people don't do primary research because primary research 95 or 99% of the time needs ethical approval from an institution. If you can't get it, this is why a lot of people, early researchers, do a lot of systematic reviews, do a lot of meta-analysis, because with this you don't need approval from any institution because the evidence is already out there, it's already synthesized and all that. You're just combining different primary research to answer a question. Now, I have an example here, about like we want to do the impact of social media on academic uh, academic or performance and all that. So you see, um, we can see we have different methods. We have quantitative, qualitative, and the mixed methods. We can see which method is actually good for this. Sorry. We can see what method is actually good for this. If you use a quantitative method, you just do like a survey and analyze this. But if you want to do a qualitative method, you need an in-depth interview of exploring students' life and all that. But with mixed methods, you combine survey, data follow-up and all that. You might see that, okay, mixed methods will provide more information. It will give more room for analysis and all that. But you need to check, okay, do I have the available resources to do a qualitative research, or what I have, is it enough for quantitative? We need to evaluate this as well. Now, developing a good research question. We have the problem, you've searched the literature, you've identified the gap. How do I develop the good research question? And this is where a lot of people make the mistake. So I'm thinking like this now while in the study. I know a lot of people have this problem they've been thinking of and all that. And they're like, oh, I have this problem. I want to, I want to, I want to take care of, but just give me one moment. So you might think, okay, I have this problem, but you don't know how to develop a good research question. One thing you should know is a good research question should be clear, it should be focused, it should be specific, researchable, relevant, ethical, and it should be sufficiently original. If you have a vague question, you're going to have vague methods. For example, does social media affect students? It does not identify which students, what type of social media exposure, which outcome, or what time period. This is a very vague research questions. And when you start doing the whole research stuff, you see your method will be so vague. And when reviewers see this, they're just going to immediately reject this. So your research question should be actually focused. We don't need a, a broad research question or a vague research question. It's going to produce a very poor research, or your analysis is going to be poor. Now, when developing a research question, we have this criteria. It's called the final criteria. So the F is for feasible. Can the question be answered with the resources you have available. That's what's feasible. Is it going to be interesting? Is it going to be engaging? Are people going to look at your work and be like, okay, yes, I want to read more about this? Or if will investors see your work and be like, oh, I want to invest in this? Is it going to be novel? We're in the world where most questions have been answered. Novelty doesn't mean necessarily mean okay, as the question be asked before or something like that. It means okay, am I using a new population? Am I using a new setting? Am I using a new exposure? This is what determines novelty. We should also check the ethics. There should be minimal risk and all that. And will it be relevant? Will your question, this your research question, will it, you know, contribute to the scientific space? Will it contribute to like policy, practice, education, or society? This is one thing you should know. So always, when trying to develop a research question, use this final criteria. Ask yourself these questions, and you'll be able to, have like a clear research question. Now, this is like a clear a working example. So you have a broad topic, artificial intelligence in healthcare. Now you go to a focus topic, AI-assisted breast cancer diagnosis. So if you can see the first question, it basically there's a lot of things that AI does in healthcare. AI helps to organize documents. AI helps to do a lot of stuff. But specifically, is the topic we want to? What's the topic we want to? What's the problem? What are we trying to do? So AI-assisted breast cancer diagnosis is more focused. It's more narrowed. Based on this, you can be able to answer more questions. We can be able to, sorry, narrow our stuff to a specific research question. Now, the next thing is we can now develop a research question. How does AI-assisted diagnostic software improve the accuracy of early breast cancer detection compared with conventional methods? This is a very focused question. Now, we'll not assess, the feasibility. This is interesting. This is novel and all that. This is a clear research question. This is what your research question should be like. So you have your niche. You have to focus on this, and you'll be able, if you, from your niche, you have the gap. You review the literature, and you see the gap, and then you come to your topic, and you can be able to develop your question based on that kind of criteria. Common mistakes you need to avoid. Your research question should not be broad. If it's broad, you're not answering a specific question, which means your stuff is not novel, it's not focused. It should not also be too narrow in the sense that when you go try to get like answers, you won't be able to find anything. You shouldn't use unclear wording. Your research question, when the reader reads it or the reviewer reads it, they should be able to grasp immediately what you're trying to ask. It should not be based on your opinion. Remember, I said your research will move based on evidence. It's evidence driven, not based on opinions. And you shouldn't chase something that you won't get an answer to. Chase something that okay, you know that at the end you're going to get an answer to it and you're going to solve a problem. This is basically um this is basically what this research is all about. Now, the next thing is you've you have that research question. You need to know how to gather information for that. You need to know how do I check, how do I do the literature review? Because without the literature review, sometimes you can't find your gap as well. This is where Mr. Steven is going to come in and show the methods on how to gather literature and all that. Steven, you take the floor now.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Mbana, for the time well spent to explaining this. So now we talk about how to gather the literature. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to continue from where you stopped. Can you make me the host?
Yes, you're the host.
Okay. So I hope everybody can see my screen, right? Huh?
Yeah, we can see your screen. I guess you just need to make it to have it at that presentation mode, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So there is the lower right bottom corner of your screen. I think it's perfect, right?
All right. Very quickly. Thank you very much for this insightful session, Dr. Mbana. So now we have spoken about the type of research and everything. Now, it is very important when you have gotten your research question to know how to gather your information for your literature review. But when you're gathering your information for your literature review, first thing you need to note is that you need to ask yourself, what kind of literature am I actually doing? You mentioned before earlier that there are secondary reviews, right? You mentioned how that there are narrative, systematic, bibliometric analysis, meta-analysis, copy review, and all like that that are available. So these are form of literatures that can be done that can be done. So when you check this and you think about the kind of literature you want to do, because each of them, there's a way to doing them. For example, narrative review is majorly a broad overview based off of the author's interpretation, or you are synthesizing a large volume of findings based off of, based off of what the authors have said. Or you are trying to do a systematic review where you are trying to, follow a specific protocol. There's a rigorous step-by-step activities that you need to do before you now synthesize the literature and find out what people have said concerning specific thing that you're looking for about a particular phenomenon that you are researching about. There's bibliometric review, which help you to map out the themes. You are doing thematic mapping, you are doing co-occurrence network, how network of words have existed together about a particular phenomenon, about a particular topic that you are looking for. So, or you are doing meta-analysis where you are trying to combine quantitative findings from multiple authors or independent researchers over time. Or you are doing scoping review, which is also talking about mapping keywords, theories, and available evidence from the literature. So all of these things, you need to actually know what you want specifically before now going to look for the kind of information you are going to do, because this will aid you to know what you need to do. If you are doing narrative review, you might just need to go to reliable academic database and download literatures from there, filter them out and download them, and then read. And there's a technique to reading too. Or if you are doing systematic and review, there's a protocol you need to follow over time. Or if you are doing bibliometric analysis, in this context, you need to download it and then take it to some other applications like RStudio or BiblioShining and all like that, so that you can analyze the literature and this will help you in the long run to come to the specific. He spoke about something that he spoke about the focus topic or the focus research question. What this will do is for you to do what? To get the gap and then narrow down your research into a specific topic or a specific research question at the end of the day. So now when you're looking for literature does three things for you when you're looking for at literature. The first thing is to understand the state of literature right now concerning what you are about the phenomenon you are searching about. The way I like to define research to me is research. That is, you are searching again what someone has searched before, because there are actually no new things. So someone somewhere would have searched what you're doing. So you, as a researcher, you're coming in to do what? To look for what has been done concerning what you are searching for, what is the state of the literature concerning what you are trying to do, and then how can I better it? How can I better improve what has been done? In what way can I come in to improve what has been done over time? Okay, this research has been done in Germany. Is it applicable, or does it fit my context where I am? Okay, I'm from Ghana. Okay, is it something that will be applicable in Ghana, or are there conditions or are there contexts that will change the scenario when it comes to Ghana? So you're looking for existing knowledge. You are trying trying to understand what is the state of the literature concerning what has been done in the past. Also, you are searching the literature to do what? To compare. And what do I mean by comparison is you are trying to look at where authors have agreed, where authors have disagreed in the literature concerning what you're searching. So in certain contexts, when you're looking at primary research, in certain contexts, some people might have found out something in about a particular phenomenon, and then in another context, they might disagree, or maybe it is across time. Maybe something you have searched before in 2015 is not the same thing now in 2026. So maybe context has changed and authors have agreed and disagreed over time. You are trying to understand and compare what has been done over time to understand the state of the literature and how you can maybe research again or search again that particular phenomenon to know what is currently happening. Now, the third thing is also to discover gap. When you are looking at literature, when you are gathering literature, or when you are looking for information, how to gather literature, you are looking at the gap. You are trying to understand where can I come in. So this is the way I used to say it, or I look at it. You say you want to try and understand what is and what ought to be. Now, no, you want to try and understand what ought to be, then what is the current situation? What is the current situation in the literature? And then you are trying to look at where you can come in and provide solutions at the end of the day. So these are the things that should be at the back of your mind when you're trying to look for literature. So now, incoming. So now, there are steps you need to take. You don't just search literature anyhow. There are steps you need to take when you're looking out for literature that specifically fit what you are looking for. Because if you search literature anyhow, you might not get your desired result. And then research can be rigorous in sometimes when you don't have the proper approach to searching your literature or looking for information that you need, especially. First thing is to define your research question by identifying keywords. From this, I mean, Dr. Mbana said, and he has spoke about how you can come down to your specific research question. So now when you get your specific research questions, you want to look at the keywords in these specific research questions. And then you look at the reputable database. We have different academic queries and academic database that you can look at. Google Scholars is there, Scopus is there, Web of Science is there, PubMed is there, Justall is there. There are a lot of them out there that you can actually look for. And then when you look for them, you pick the keywords, identify keywords in these particular articles, in these particular research questions, and then you will use these keywords together with your Boolean operators to actually search for the literature. It will give you literature, relevant literature. Now, you can decide to refine whatever you have searched. You can refine it by looking at, existing literature within the last 10 years concerning what you're looking at, or you can actually limit it or refine it by your field of study, or you can refine it by different criteria. There are a lot of criteria that you can use to include and exclude whatever you are looking for. And actually, I'm going to demonstrate something at the end of this class. I'm going to show you some of the ways through which you can search from the literature. Now, another thing you need to know is that you need to evaluate the source because it is very important. Are you getting your information? Where are you getting your information from? There are a lot of places where you can get your information from. And I said, for example, the other time that the source of your information determines the quality of your work at the end of the day, because you cannot be citing articles that are not really peer reviewed or that are not relevant to the current scenario of the literature or current scenario of work or context of the phenomenon you are looking at. So it's very important. You need to ask yourself, is the source of my article is it quality enough? And I have shown you that some of the places, quality queries that you can go to database includes Google Scholar, Scopus, Web of Science, and all. What is the relevance of this particular articles or these specific articles that I'm going to download? Are they relevant and are they recent enough? And are they peer reviewed? So you need to ask yourself these questions when you're looking for information or looking for literature to use when you are actually doing what? When you're actually searching for information or literature that are relevant and that will give your word a solid, that will make your work very solid. So you need to look at this. You need to answer to be able to answer these questions when you're looking for these literatures. So also you need to organize your data. I mean your literatures after you have been able to identify or you have been able to gather this information by the way of searching through this academic database. You need to group them together. Grouping them together will mean that you don't just download them abruptly. There's a systematic way of doing research. And then what you need to do is to look for a reliable referencing manager to actually store your work or to actually store this data such that you can go back there and then access it easily. You can make notes on all of these referencing manager like Mendeley and all like that, end notes and all like that. So this will be your reference manager for the specific articles that you have chosen at the end of the day. And also after organizing, then you need to read and then you need to read. And there's a specific way to reading articles actually. I'm coming. Why is it not going back? So there's a specific way to reading a research article. One of the first things that I tell people when they are reading research article before you can be able to identify patterns and the research gap by comparing the studies is firstly, you need to pick. Now, I'm talking by the way of tradition, the traditional way of literature search. Now, you need to do what? You need to read the abstract. Abstract talks about the summary, entirety of the literature of that particular journal article or that particular manuscript that you are reading or that particular article that you are actually looking at. So when you read that article, you will be able to know whether they are relevant, whether you want to continue, because a lot of people spend time wasting their time reading articles without having a clear direction of how to read it and whether it is relevant. Rather than wasting a lot of time reading articles and at the end of the day, it's not relevant to what research question you are trying to answer. There's a way to reading the article at the end of the day. So the first thing I would advise people to do is to read the abstract. Most times the abstract almost tell you about what the researcher has done about the work, how did they do the research, and then what findings do they find out at the end of the day. So after you have been able to look at this, you will be able to tell whether, okay, I have interest in this and this aligns with the research question I'm trying to answer. The next thing is not to read the introduction. The next thing is not to read the literature section. The next thing for you is to probably go to the conclusion section of that particular article. Read the conclusion section. Conclusion will tell you the author's the research, the meaning of the author's research, what the researcher actually find out at the end of the day. So it will tell you the summary of what the author of that particular article have done. I mean, what they have done over time. So when you check that, you'll be able to understand the implication of the research. You will be able to understand what implications, what are the things that the researcher found out in summary. So when you have done this, you should also ask yourself, does this thing fit or aligns with what I'm trying to do? If it aligns, the next step for you is to go to the table. There are tables, there are figures in a particular journal article. So when you go to that place, you should be able to identify patterns. You are able to identify patterns of similarity, compare things, and look at the data visualization, because most times people get bored reading paragraphs. So when you read I'm trying to admit people. So when you read the the tables, it gives you a quick picture of what the research actually find out at the end of the day. So when you see that, you will now decide whether to continue that, and maybe it aligns to the research questions. It kind of answers some of the questions. I mean, it supports some of the arguments you're trying to build with your research question. Then you can now go to the methodology. How do they do this research? How did they carry out this research? This methodology session will tell you three things. The methodology tells you something. What did they measure? How do they measure distance? And who are the participants in the research? So you will be able to understand it gives you a skeletal framework of how the research was done in its entirety. So once you are able to now ascertain, I think now from there, you are able to move from the broad to the specific. You are able to move from the broad to the specific. So when you are able to look at the results, the methodology session, and all of these things have aligned the conclusion session, you have read the data visualization, the tables and figures, and you are able to see that, okay, this actually works perfectly for water and aligns perfectly and will contribute immensely to my research. Then you can now immerse yourself in reading the result session. This will save you a lot of time. You can use, rather than using like 2 hours or 3 hours reading a 22-page document or a 22-page journal article, this will help you to limit your time. You can read a whole research article in 20 minutes or 30 minutes max, because you have been able to filter the ones that are relevant from the get-go. You read the abstract, it aligns. Okay, let me read the conclusion section, it aligns, and then you go to what's it called? You go to the table, the patterns and all like that. It fits into what you're trying to do. You move to the methodology. It's interesting. You are able to understand how the research was conducted, and it talks about the credibility of that research, because methodology shows the credibility, because it shows how rigorous the research was conducted. So now when you see that, you now move to the results, because the results will tell the big picture and the specific picture of the entire paper and what the paper find out. By the time you do that, you might find out that in 2 or 3 hours you have read like 10 papers, which that will help you. That will help you in the course of doing your research. So also, I'm coming. I'm admitting people. Also, there are ways to actually doing research more faster. What I've explained is the traditional ways through which you can use. There is also a let me say a faster approach which you can use, the AI. You can use AI. And I'm going to be sharing something at the end of the class that will show you how you can use AI tools to actually do what? To actually make your research faster. Firstly, you need to generate keywords. So now you have a research idea in your mind. Give it to ChatGPT, write a prompt telling it to generate 15 or 10 combination of keywords that you can use actually to make the research, that you can use, the combination of keyword that can help you find the research that you are looking for at the end of the day. So now it will generate the keywords for you. Once it generates the keyword, you look the most appropriate one. Maybe you are looking at what are the implications of climate change on social justice in sub-Saharan Africa. So the keywords there, maybe you give it to AI and it says that, okay, climate change is one of the keyword. Climate change implication is one of the keywords. Social justice is one of the keywords. Equity is one of the keywords. Environmental justice is one of the keywords. Food justice is one of the keywords. Food security is another keyword. So it gives you the combination of all these keywords at the same time. Then you build a search strategy. All of this stuff, you can use it to determine, you can give AI prompts to help you develop this something. So now you will give it another prompt. You give it another prompt. By the way, AI should be used responsibly. I need to say that from the beginning. It shouldn't do your work for you. It shouldn't do your work for you. Yeah, rather, it should aid you when you're doing your research. It could be an aid for you to search for literatures, for you to look for foundational papers or foundational or recent publications that you are looking for. And then there are a lot of AI tools actually that you can use, right? You can use ChatGPT, which is more common. There is Consensus, which has its own, which tries to synthesize literature. Semantic Scholar is another one that you can use. You can use Semantic Scholar, you can use Cloud, you can use Elicit, you can use Research Rabbit. So now, all of these things have the specific work they do. For example, when you're using Research Rabbit can help you to, if you have a particular a particular article now, Research Rabbit can help you to look for who developed on that particular work. So you are able to get more information. Okay, this person has stopped here. Now, when you look at Research Rabbit, now you put a particular paper on Research Rabbit, it will tell you, okay, no, someone else somewhere has developed more work about this particular article. Semantic Scholar look at the semantics, it looks at the words, combine words together, so and all like that. Consensus help you to synthesize. ChatGPT is like a general one that you can use easily and all like that. So all of these AI tools have been developed to help you to, make research more easy for you. So now you can build a research strategy, build a research something prompt that will help you. So after you have built this research prompt, I have an example here in one of my notes, and I'm going to send it at the end of the day. We are going to look at it. So you build that research strategy and then you press it on AI. AI will suggest this link. It will give you link to specific articles that are relevant, and that are top notch, that can help you to do what? Or help you in answering your research question at the end of the day. So after this, um, after you have discovered your relevant paper and you summarize articles, and I think one of the things that I said was how to summarize articles. I already said it on how to read your article. Make sure that when you are reading articles, the ones that are relevant, you start to take notes, because you don't just leave it. There are different ways through which people write research, but I'm talking based off of the way I do my own. When you are doing that, you get your what? You get your research article. You see this paper is relevant. You do what? You manage it. What When you are reading through the lines, you try to write in your own words, because plagiarism is one other thing that we don't that research frown. Academic writing or research or academia frown on. So you need to do what? Actually you need to actually start writing. Make a list of make a note, have a note where you jot down key points that you think might help you in answering your question, or that you think might help you in buttressing your argument at the end of the day when you are conducting your research or when you are writing at the end of the day. So you summarize your articles, synthesize, like you look for arguments. Okay, this person have said this and said this about this, and this person has said this and they said this about this. This person is saying otherwise. It is contrasting to what they have said. But this is where my own research is trying to come in. So after reading different articles, you should be able to come to that particular point. And also identify trend, research trend. Also, when you are doing this, when you are reading article, you might notice a trend. Okay, this person found out that this is the cause of the implication of climate change, maybe in sub-Saharan Africa. And another person found that in South Africa that is also a trend in South Africa. In Northern Africa, they found out the same trend. So you are trying to identify patterns of similarities, differences in research. You are trying to build on arguments wherein you are trying to compare what people have done in the past together. You are trying to synthesize it together to look at how you can come in. Now, but when you are looking for paper too, using AI, you can also tell AI to give you foundational paper that you might have missed in the past. So you can tell it to look for foundational paper that you think might contribute to your work, and it will always suggest this. So now, once you get this foundational paper, one thing I would like you to do is, because it's a foundational paper and it is core to your work, you can you can go there, look at the reference section of that particular paper. maybe 50 reference the paper reference 50 people. Now, in these 50 people, you need to look at, skim through those 50 references. You will see papers that will help contribute to your work. So you look at those references, you pick them out, you put it on Google or Google Scholar or your database, academic database, and then you download them. So this paper will probably contribute more to whatever you are doing, will help you and aid you in building more on your argument at the end of the day. So those are some of the ways through which you can use AI. So, but I've said earlier, don't use AI to do what? To to write your work. Let AI be an aid when you are when you are when you are when you are writing your papers and all like that. Maybe for literature search, to aid, to help you get the foundational paper, and to help you look for the relevant papers that will aid your argument at the end of the day. So also, we need to talk about ethics in research. As my brother said earlier, ethics is a very important aspect of research, because without ethics, the research is as good as nothing. So ethics demonstrate responsibility towards participants and strengthen research credibility. It tells you the credibility, because most of the times when you're submitting articles for conferences, for journal publication, and when you're submitting your manuscript, they will ask you, where is the ethical approval? Although it's not all research that requires your ethical approval in that in that context, but most times you need to seek consent from people. You need to seek consent of the people who are going to be concerned in your research. If you are doing systematic review, or you are doing some kind of analysis, or meta review in that context, and you are using someone else's primary data, you need to seek consent from them. That is if you are doing that. And if you are conducting a primary research, your participants, you must ask them voluntarily. They must be willing to participate voluntarily, and you must ask for their consent.
Hi,
Informed consent
Taiwo.
is very important. Hello?
Yes, please kindly check the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Please kindly check
Okay.
from time to time. There's a couple of people
Okay.
waiting. Mhm.
All right. I think I have admitted all.
All
So,
right. Then we are
all
working
right.
on
So,
time as well.
all right. All
Yeah.
right. So you need to look at you need to seek their informed consent. They must be willing to participate freely. Also, there's issue of confidentiality in research. You need to be able to protect their information. Whatever they have given to you, their personality, their personal information must be protected and safeguarded at all costs. Also, is the research you are conducting, is it going to cause some kind of harm, or physical harm, or emotional harm, or social risks to some people, the people that participate? So you need to also be able to look at this. Is it going to cause them some kind of problem at the end of the day? You need to put this in consideration when you are actually doing your research, so that you can actually look for ways through which you can better minimize this risk, or through which you can better minimize this harm. Are there power dynamics, like in, in this context? Maybe you are trying to conduct a research, and then some people feel like, because based off of the fact that you are conducting that research, you are in the pole position to answer their social problem, or provide solutions to their social problem, maybe in terms of implementation. So you need to be able to state explicitly to these people that I am someone who is just conducting research to look for ways, or provide policy implications for the government or the relevant authority. I am not a person that will provide solutions to, implement these solutions. So you need to come out clean and tell them all of these things. Those are some of the things that are relevant when you are trying to conduct research, and there are ethical issues that you need to put in consideration when you are conducting research. So also, sorry. So also, there's also issue of plagiarism in research. You need to actually be conversant with this. If there are a lot of things, people write people's work verbatim and all like that, there are a lot of ways through which you can plagiarize people. If you are copying text without citation, you are plagiarizing someone. If you are paraphrasing without acknowledging the person that you are paraphrasing, you are actually plagiarizing. If you are using someone's figure, table, and image without their permission, you are plagiarizing. As I've said, it's an ethical issue. Or if you are if 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 you are actually using AI in this context, you are using AI and you have generated a table or a map or a figure from AI without properly telling the research institute or the people involved in the research, or without properly stating that you are actually using AI to generate the map, or citing AI as your source for the map or your table, or whatever, or your pictures, you are plagiarizing. So how to avoid plagiarism at the end of the day? First step is to cite all sources. You have to cite all sources. And also you need to paraphrase correctly at all times. Very importantly, you need to paraphrase. And how do you paraphrase? This is the way I think of paraphrasing. Every time we are writing, you read for exams. You are going to an exam or to write an exam. But what you have read is not the same way, except you cram. What you have read is not the same way you put it down. So when you read a particular sentence or a particular paragraph, you feel like it is relevant to your work, you do what? You write it down in your own words, what that person has said, and then you reference them. That is how to paraphrase correctly. Use quotation marks for direct quotation where appropriate. Keep accurate referencing record. Check with Turnitin, Interticate, or Grammarly after you are done with your writing or your write-up at the end of the day. So you need to check with plagiarism software to check the extent to which you have plagiarized other people's work. And I'm always saying that it is possible for you to write for you to write a 20-page document, 100-page document without any similarity index or without any form of plagiarism inside of it, because it's something people have done in the past. So you need to, when you follow these steps, you will be able to get a very good plagiarism score, and you'll be able to actually avoid plagiarism, which is an ethical issue at the end of the day. So also how to write research. How to write research. How do you write research at the end of the day? There's a way to writing a research, and Dr. Mbana have said a lot of it in the past. Because research writing must communicate finding using credible evidences. So now you need to define your objective clearly. As I said earlier, conduct a preliminary literature review, as I've explained, how to search literatures and how to read literatures, how to put them in writing. You need to know all of this stuff. Develop a research question or thesis statement. That is your that is your big question, and then you develop it into specific research questions. Now, gather supporting evidence that will support this your big statement at the end of the day. So you develop an outline. You write, okay, because research must have a structure, as I said, your introduction, your literature, your methodology, your result session, all of it must be coherent, because in research, we do things in a logical flow. It has to follow a logical flow from the beginning to the end. Because if you're writing and then there is a mix up somewhere, or your research question is not in tandem with your methodology, it is not connecting with each other, there will be a problem. So your research will not be valid at the end of the day. So there should be a logical flow from your introduction session to your literature review session to your methodology session, from your methodology to your result session. So all of it must follow a process. All of it must follow a logical flow to arrive at a conclusive, a valid conclusion. To arrive at a valid conclusion. Remember the way I told you to read your literature, how to read a literature. It's the same thing, but just that you are reading literature and then there's a way technique to make it faster. So when you are reading article, you must also take cognizance that everything must flow. Everything must flow, because if the literature you are reading is not flowing, there's no way you can go from abstract and understand what is in the conclusion and then move to the table session and then move to the methodology session and then move to the result session to know whether that thing specifically answer the research question you are trying to answer. So your research also, when you're writing it, you need to make sure everything flows, because a logical flow is what is important, and it must fall, it must be very coherent when you're writing. So everything must be a step-by-step process. So develop an outline, as I said. Write your first draft. Now, some people want to write research and they want to write it once. No, it doesn't work that way. There will be first draft, there will be the latest draft, there will be the corrected and the latest draft. That is how you save different manuscripts at the end of the day, because of the review of or revisions that you have done over time. Your first draft is not supposed to be perfect. Your first draft is not supposed to be perfect. It's like a rough sketch of whatever you want to do. Then when you read again and read again, you can begin to refine and form argument and logical argument and coherent argument over time to make a solid work at the end of the day. Because if you submit your first draft, at most of the time it's going to be work in the shambles. It's not going to be it's not going to be a good work at the end of the day. So you need to continue to refine your thoughts. I mean, refine your argument, revise it, read it again until you are satisfied before you are able to send it out. So cite your source correctly is another thing. You need to cite all the sources correctly. You coming? You need to cite all the sources correctly. I'm sorry. I'm trying to admit people. You need to cite all your sources correctly. Make sure that all the articles you are citing, they are from credible sources, from credible databases. They are from Q1 journals, top journals, and all like that, because it is very important. It will tell a lot about the quality of the work that you have done. So, and also edit and proofread, as I've said, revision. So I think this will be the end of this particular session, but I'm going to show you how to actually search from the database very quickly. I'm going to show you how to search from the database very quickly. I'm going to be demonstrating from Google Scholar, and I'm also going to be demonstrating from Web of Science, so that you can see how to better refine your article and to bring out relevant literature that are relevant to your work at the end of the day. So let me quickly do that. Okay, so I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. I guess you need to stop sharing your screen so that it allows you to
Okay,
see the other tabs.
okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So there is the lower, there
all
should
right.
be. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
So now
Perfect.
I asked a question the other time. I say, what are the implications of climate change on social justice in sub-Saharan Africa? So now let's make a quick search. So
Um,
now, if you want
Taiwo,
to
just
make a
1 minute. Just one
okay,
minute. Can you just open a tab afresh to let us know
okay,
how you got to Google Scholar and then how you navigated the entire phase? Yeah, let's do that.
okay. Can you see my news tab?
Yes, please.
Okay, now look at this. So Google Scholar, you just need to go to Google and then press Google Scholar on it. And then you come here, and then this is Google Scholar. Now, this is the landing page of Google Scholar. Now, articles, can you see? So now I'm trying to look for, maybe the research question is, what are the implications of climate change on social justice in sub-Saharan Africa? Now look at something. I can do like this. I can say climate change implication as one of my keywords. So you need to, as I said earlier, you need to identify keywords, climate change implications, right? So now you use your Boolean operators like and what? Social justice. Social justice, right? So another, we can use or, because or represents maybe some other alternatives. So, or what? Equity, because equity is similar to justice now. Then, so you can search. Look at this. So now we have, when you check this, you see this, it gives you like 4 million what? 4 million results. But this is a lot. This is a lot of articles that have been written concerning climate change implication and social justice. In this context, it's a lot. So you come here, you can decide to reduce it because it shows a lot of articles. You can see this is a 2001 article. It's a long time ago. It's 20 years ago, almost 20 something years ago. So now you can say in the last 10 years, that's 2016 to 2026. Can you see? You search. We have how many? We have 17,800 words in the last 10 years. So now you can also do what? You can also say there are other ways through which you can also reduce these articles. Now, because I'm looking for specific articles, I'm not looking for envisioning environmental equity alone. I'm not looking for earth. I'm looking for social justice because I'm a political scientist. I'm in the public policy field. I'm in public administrative. I'm in the social sciences. Let me just say it that way. So I'm looking for specific articles. Now, you can do it like this. You can use your special keys to refine or further reduce the quantity of articles that you'll be reading. You can use special keys or special characters such as hash. You can use $sign. You place it in front of what? In front of the keywords, right? You place it in front of the keywords. Social what? Social justice. You place it in front of the keywords. You see that it will also reduce, what's it called? It will also reduce the quantity of article at the end of the day. I'm coming. No, I think it's not reducing it. Climate change and I'm coming. So look at this. You can also refine by this because the specific articles, it can bring you specific articles that relates to climate change and implication of social justice. Now, if you now want to read these articles now, if you want to read these articles, you don't need to read everything. You can come to, okay, this is climate change and climate change, climate justice, environmental justice, implication for nursing profession. This might not be what I'm looking for. Political feasibility and all like that. Role of social justice. When you check it, when you read the abstract, you will be able to find more information concerning the article. So maybe we click on this one. So this one leads us to a very good journal article. This is Science Direct because now you are getting your fresh information directly from this place. When you read the abstract, if I read the abstract, I will be able to know whether this actually aligns to what I'm looking for. Let's see. This specific article is not summarizing it. So now I will download it, click PDF and download, and then I will read the abstract. Then I will now continue to look, okay, does this align specifically to what I'm looking for or not? So now, for example, if you are using Mendeley, look at it. If you have installed Mendeley on your system, your referencing manager that I said, you can add it from here directly. You just add this information directly to your Mendeley. It will show and reflect on your Mendeley, and then you can better manage your articles directly from your Mendeley because it is relevant. Once you have read the abstract, you are able to know whether this paper is worth your time reading or not. Then you follow those steps that I gave you earlier. So also, you can do for as much as possible insofar they are actually relevant to what you are looking for. in terms of climate change. So now, because I didn't add something here, I said in sub-Saharan Africa, maybe if I put when I put sub-Saharan Africa here, it will also further refine it to what? To articles based in Africa or sub-Saharan Africa, or maybe I'm looking for information on Africa generally. So this is for Web of Science generally. I mean, this is for Google Scholar. Now I will show you from Web of Science. This is, I don't know whether you're seeing my screen now. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
So this is Web of Science page, for example. When you look at this Web of Science page, this is actually, you can also register for Web of Science through Google and all, but this is from my own university portal because I have the login from my university library. Now look at something. Let's make a quick search. This makes it even more easier for you. Now you have a feed like this in Web of Science. You go to the advanced search, and once you click advanced search, you come here. You can refine by anything you want. Look at this. You can refine by topic. You can refine by title. You can refine by author. You can refine by publication title. You can refine by year of publish. You can refine by affiliation. You can refine by funding agency. You can refine by publisher, abstract, and all. There are different things you can do with this particular data query or data academic database. So now, for example, we are trying to search for the same thing we search there. So now I'm refining by topic. Look at this. I say climate change implication. Right? And this one already has, you don't need to put your Boolean value. You just put it by topic, right? Social justice, right? So, or you say equity. Now, I want to do something here. Look at this. I want to refine by publication dates. So I want to look for article from 2016 to 2026 on this particular issue. Then I will press my search. I'm coming. Oh, this is not working well. I think I need to refresh this particular one. But I'm coming. Sorry for the time. I just want to show this quickly. I don't know why it's not loading. Should load. Okay, things coming up. I think it's because of the internet. So now, advance. So you come to topic, as I said earlier, climate change implication, right? You add new row. You put social justice, right? Add new row or equity. Let's leave it like this first. So now we can do other refining inside when it brings it out. So look at this. Now, oh, it's so slow. So now we have 218,988 results from Web of Science on this particular topic. Now, for a person like me in the social science field, I want to refine this thing. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of articles. Now, look at something that it also does. Look at the number of people who have cited this paper. You can also see number of people who have referenced it and all like that. So look, these are some of the, number of references from this paper rather, and the number of citations. So these are some of the things that shows you how maybe the work is quality and all. Look at the social justice leadership theory and a case study. But based off of our work, I am in the social science field. I can come here. When you just by your left hand side like this, these are the things you can use to refine your results. So I'm looking for maybe review articles only that I've reviewed on this particular something. I refine. It will limit my articles to what? It has limit my articles to 13,000. Also, I'm not looking for any kind of article. I'm looking for what? I'm looking for social science citation index article. So now look at it. Social science citation index article is 5,000. So I want to also refine by this. It has limit my article to 5,000, right? Also, I'm feeling that this is a lot of article for me to use. I can also come here and say I'm only looking for article between 2010 2016 and 2026. Can you see? You see?
Yeah.
Okay, so you come here and you refine. You refine it, it will limit, it will also limit it to specifics. 4,125. We have 4,125 articles. Now, you can now begin to scan or screen. Maybe the first one, it talks about, can we optimize for let's pick an article. Can we optimize for justice, reviewing the inclusion of energy justice in energy system optimization model? Now, this is a lot of things. Maybe I'm looking for articles in social science specifically. I can come here again. I say Web of Science categorization, and I say see all. I'll see in different fields, articles in different fields, and the number of publications they have over time. I can come here and say I'm looking for social science interdisciplinary, or I'm looking for something relating to social issues, articles that relate to climate change implications on social justice, and then it's talking about social issue, or maybe it's talking about, let me look whether there's political science article or public administrative article here, or public policy, anything of such. Now look at it. There are 10 articles that are specific to political science. So now I can decide to do what? To refine by this. Let me just say refine. You can play with all of these things on your own. And then you see, can we optimize justice? Reviewing inclusion of energy justice. Okay. So now from 280 something thousand articles, we have 99 results. Then you can begin to check each of these results one by one to see which one actually answers whatever you are looking at, the implication of climate change on what? On social justice, in whatever context you are looking at it. So how do you do that? You come here, you read these are the abstracts, and then you come here, full text, and you download. Now, I made mention of something earlier. The article will download itself like that. I made mention of something earlier. If you are trying to do, I said that there are different form of review. Now, this is just for like a narrative kind of review. You are downloading the article and you are reading manually the way I said it. Now, if you want to do like a bibliometric analysis now, or you want to do like a systematic review, you will come here. You come and export the data. So now, for example, you want to do a systematic review, you can you can download on Excel or RIS, and then you follow the protocols to actually do what? To actually know, I mean, based on the inclusion and exclusion criteria that you have, and then you conduct your systematic review from there, and then you take it to maybe the applications that you use to run it. But the one me I'm most familiar with is bibliometric analysis in that context. Now, I want to do a bibliometric analysis of this particular article to map out themes over time, to map out co-occurrence of words over time, so that I can arrive at a specific gap. So I will come to blip text, and then I will download the record. So I will say I will download this record, full record and cited references, and then I will download it Then I will take this, I will take it into the R studio to go and conduct a bibliometric analysis on it to now identify the gap over time or what has been done over time concerning climate change implication and social justice in that context. So some of the way you can play with all of these things, look at it. You can look for scoping review. There are some other keywords, additional keywords you can also do. Maybe you're looking for scoping review in relation to this. You can pick it here. You can add other things. Say you are looking for systematic review when you are adding your keywords from the beginning. So all of these database have a lot of features that can help you to actually get quality literatures that you need to actually, to actually write your research at the end of the day, or write or draft your manuscript at the end of the day. So I think I will stop here. If there are any questions, we will be able to attend to them.
Thank you
Let
very
me stop
much,
sharing.
Taiwo. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you very much, Dr. Mbana. I really do appreciate how much effort you've put into this. This is just a lot of information that has been shared with us in just so much limited time. I see there are a lot of clubs going up for you, boss. I mean, I guess this is also from the participant side to appreciate the depth of information which you've been able to share over, let's say, an hour and 30 minutes. But we are going to open the floor for more questions and answers. But before we go into that, there is um there is a form that has been shared in the chat by Dr. Mbana. Please kindly fill this form. Give us your feedback of today's session. Fill the correct name and email address so that we can do your attestation for participation and share with you through your email address. Please kindly do well to fill that. Also, we are saying you could also drop your LinkedIn handle in the chat so that you can build your network from here and you can continue to connect even after the webinar. So now I want to open the floor for questions. I want to also allow those who are in attendance, who have also perhaps been immersed into research, to please share with us maybe a thing or two. Maybe you want to maybe support something that was mentioned or highlighted in the presentation. And then that would be greatly appreciated. So how to do this? You can either use a chat to ask your question, or you can just use the reaction. You see where you have react, where there is a heart. You can just raise your hand and we would call you up to ask your question, to unmute yourself and ask your question or make a recommendation. So the floor is open. Everybody, you're welcome to asking your question or making a contribution. So the floor is open. Okay. Okay, Faith. Yes, Faith, please go ahead. I see you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
What's it for?
You're breaking.
That's
Speak.
good. It could be my network. What about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. So I just thought to comment. I know there's already a feedback form, definitely, but for everyone here, I would just love to publicly commend the speakers. Like they really did well in breaking down what research is all about. But personally, I am not a research fan. I don't like it from here to there because I cannot exactly express myself through storytelling. I have to be really objective. It's really a lot of work, but them breaking down things really, make me look or see research from another perspective, another interesting perspective, how that if I want to research for any study, I can easily go to the scholar, the hashtag to use, the research process, what are the things I have to understand first before embarking on research. And sincerely, if you don't understand certain things that they've provided enlightenment on in this session, it will be very difficult. One would basically struggle researching successfully. So I just got to say a very big thank you to you, the convener, and of course the speakers. It was really an insightful section, and I do not regret joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. That really warms my heart, and I guess that of Stephen and Dr. Mbana as well. Thank you so much for that warm feedback. Stephen, can you make me host, please, so that I can send
Yeah,
the...
I have done that. I have done that.
Okay. Okay, now I see where the challenge is. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So, colleagues, it's again to remind us to please drop our feedback using the link, the Google link I've dropped in the chat, so as to enable us improve our sessions. Faith, I think it's the second time I'm meeting you, so it's good to meet you again. So, while we wait for colleagues to come in with their comments and feedback, Emery, see you. Thank you. Just in case anybody wants to make a comment, please go ahead. Go ahead and raise your hand, drop a question in the chat, and we are more than happy to bring you up. So while we wait for questions, Ada, thank you, Dr. Ada. Thank you so much. You made this happen. Thanks to you and your team. I appreciate you, Sankofa, from the depth of my heart. Thank you so much. So Ada says it was indeed an interesting, amazing, and very practical session. Indeed, I agree with you. That's valid. So Aisha, I see you. Aisha says, thank you so much for so much to the organizer and presenters for the sessions. You did so much justice to the concept. Oh, thank you. Um, she says she has two questions. Number one, what is the difference between writing a manuscript and a proposal? Question two says, is there a platform for further learning, please? Or is it through LinkedIn? So maybe I'll take the question two in order to save time. Then Dr. Mbana and Taiwo, you may decide amongst you who speaks to this question. So my question two, yes, we can share with you the link to our WhatsApp group, which I can drop in the chat not long from now, which you can join. I also know that from there we share materials from every presentation. So after this, we're going to share a YouTube link that would allow everybody to go back to this video. And then we also PDF the presentations, though sometimes we leave it as PowerPoint presentations and share back in that WhatsApp group to enable people to continually read. In addition to that, we sometimes come across opportunities and we share on this WhatsApp group, but we are also open to sharing links to other WhatsApp groups where opportunities are being shared. I think currently we've shared at least access to 2 or 3 WhatsApp groups where opportunities are shared globally, be them trainings, be them job opportunities, be them fellowships also. So yes, in a minute from now, I'm going to share with you a link to that WhatsApp group. So Dr. Mbana, Stephen, do you want to, in a minute, address the first question? I see you, Aisha. Thank you.
Okay.
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 So hi Aisha, thank you for the question and your kind words as well. So just take it like this. With a marriage, you do a proposal first before going into the marriage.
We
Proposal
lost you for a bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well,
A
it could
little
be
bit.
louder, I guess.
Okay. Just one moment. Like,
Okay. I think I can go first if he's trying to settle
Okay.
his
I don't know.
speaker. Okay. Is it back?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Bana, you can
Yes,
go
yes,
ahead.
yes.
Okay, perfect. So just take a proposal, like, before you do a wedding, before the main event, you actually need to tell the lady you want to marry her, what are your plans for her and everything. So that's like the
Mm,
proposal. And then you have the manuscript. Let's say the manuscript is the marriage, is the wedding and everything. You have the results. So a proposal and manuscript are very different. So before you start a research, you need to tell them, okay, this is what I plan on doing. This is how I'm going to conduct whatever I'm going to do. This is what I am expecting after doing the research. So that's what a research proposal is. A manuscript is now you've done the research, you're now reporting what you found out from your research, whatever you did. Okay, now when writing your proposal, you'll be like, oh, I plan on doing this. I plan on doing this. I expect this. But in the manuscript, you're like, okay, we did this, we expected this, or rather, we did this and we evaluated this and we saw this. So before you be like, okay, I want to evaluate what is the cause of the flood in my environment. I'm going to use this method. I'm going to use this and that. But when you're reporting the manuscript, you're like, oh, I evaluated the cause of flood in my environment. I used a mixed method. Now I've seen the cause of the flood is due to um pipe leakage or blah 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 blah, or due to movement from the sea or whatever the cause is. So this is like the clear difference. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think to add to that, proposal comes before you write in the manuscript. It's a proposal oftentimes it's is in the preliminary stage. You write it, you put it down in what you want to do and how you want to do it, and then manuscript is actually doing the work. And then one of the things you need to take note when you're doing that is the tense you use in writing a proposal and the tense you use when you're drafting the manuscript itself. Manuscript is most times in present continuous tense or present tense rather, and then or past tense. Let me put it that way. But proposal in when you are writing it, the tone you use is future. I mean future tense. I will, I will, I will, I will. You have not done anything. You are just proposing. Whether you get someone to fund your work or not. So in that context, so manuscript actually reports what you have actually done, and then most times it is what you actually present. Maybe you have drafted a manuscript now. It is what you actually present to journal articles, to journal for publications or publishing sites and all like that for them to publish because it is the work that has already been done. So I think that those are the clear difference, adding to what Dr. Mbana said earlier.
Okay. Great. Perfect. So, thank you very much. I see we still have a few things in the comment. Okay, Faith says, incredible. Aisha says, oh, great. Thank you so much. That's super amazing. Okay, so while we wait for other reactions, I just wanted to let us know that this is session one, and we'll be having session two in the month of August. That's definitely going to be much more practical. It's going to help us really see in depth what this session today could translate into if done practically. I know that
Mm,
Taiwo has taken us through some practical pieces, especially around picking up relevant information that speaks to our area of research, the tools we could use to really, mine data, to pick out data that can help us. So I just want to take us again a little bit into what we should be seeing in the month of August. We are going to recap all of what we had in session one, but not in the details, because prior to this, we're going to share with you the YouTube link where you'd watch this session again to prepare yourself. So please, as you come to session two in August, come with your laptop so that you can be able to do these things simultaneously. You're not just listening, but you're also trying to, do it practically from your own side. And you're able to also ask meaningful questions that can also help you. I can see a few of us attending whom I know are in the research phase. So when you watch this video again after this, come to the session in August with a very prepared mindset where you can have the possibility of asking questions. We can also put you in contact with Taiwo and Bana so that they can, sort of guide you through with their permission anyway. So what you will be seeing in the next session after the recap, we're going to be addressing how to write your research abstracts. We'll be looking at practical abstract writing, a small, practical of how to go about writing your abstract. So it's going to be a little workshop, though we can even extend this to later. We'll be looking at understanding conference proceedings, preparing a research presentation, writing abstracts to full papers, just like one of our colleagues asked not long ago, choosing where to submit your abstracts. Taiwo rightly said that sometimes how you write your abstract could also captivate maybe a funder to fund your work, right? But where do you submit this abstract? So these are things you'll be learning about in the next session, and anybody can, and you'll be learning some of these characteristics, right? You would also be learning about predatory journals and fake conferences. How do you submit your abstracts? You'll be learning tips for addressing external reviews. You'll be learning about authorship and collaborations. You'd also be learning about you'd also be going through a final practical session, and then we'll be closing. That is going to be the end. Now, a few comments I wanted to make before we call it a wrap. First off, please kindly use the link in the chats to help us give us your feedback of today's session. It always means a lot to us. It will take you just a minute to fill that form. So now, if you're attending today's session, I think the question you would be asking yourself is, can I be able to write either an abstract? Can I be able to do research, right? And the question, like Faith had rightly said, it is a very tricky thing. It's a very difficult thing. Dr. Ada is in the chat, and I'll be giving her a minute before we wrap it up all. We have organized groups like 2 or 3 times, 2 different groups, and I've even created WhatsApp groups to do research, and it still fails for some reason, right? Again, this is to tell you how difficult sometimes it is to come about doing research. But is it possible? Yes, it's very possible. These are people in front of you who've written work. I myself have written as well. And it is my position again to encourage you to know that in as much as you're a scholar, you have the capacity, you have the ability to write research, you have the capacity to publish your work. All we need to do is to know how to do it. And this is where we are here today in today's session, right? So a lot of people, if you're a student, know that a lot of people still do a lot of publishing while they're in school. If you speak to Taiwo later on, he will tell you the number of articles he's been able to publish. Dr. Mbana will tell you the number of articles he's been able to publish. Dr. Adam might speak to you after myself, and she'll be able to tell you numerous articles she has published, she has reviewed, and all of those. But these are people who did all of this work while in school. So if you're listening to me right now and you're in school, I think you should start asking yourself the question, what do I want to publish? Can I do the research? How is this webinar going to help me, right? A lot of times we see on our grading scores, I would say, for example, in Cameroonian universities, that's the one I know. Many times they usually write there, you're doing your thesis in partial fulfillment for your bachelor's degree, is it master's degree or whichever. I want us to take that out of our minds. It is not in order for you to get a degree. It is for you to contribute to epistemology, to contribute to knowledge base out there. And that's the reason why we can go ahead and then just rush through it. And I think these are some of the misconceptions we pick through our time in school. It is not for you to just pass a course. It is for you to also grow in that area and to grow as an authority in that particular area where your study is focused in. I know people who have published their thesis after they've left school. I mean, the master's thesis, I will not even mention PhD because it's the requirement for you. Before you even complete your PhD, you would have done a couple of publications, right? But as a BSc student, yes, you can publish your thesis if you do it correctly. And if you have the proper guidance to help you publish your work, yes, your work can still be published as soon as you're done with your research. So do not do that in partial fulfillment for your bachelor's or your master's degree. Do it now with a renewed mindset that your work can be published even after, right? So now Stephen had mentioned something, I think Dr. Bana had mentioned as well. While I was in the university, I participated also in a couple of research where these people got funding. A lot of people do their PhDs when they get funding to do that research. How do they get the funding? And we are sitting back in our homes, not knowing that there is money somewhere that can help us to facilitate the research process. Now, as a participant in today's webinar, I think you should be going back home today, preparing yourself for the next webinar, because this is something that would be addressed, right? So do not say you did not research because you did not have the money. Yes, to get the money too is not easy, but you need to work for it. You will not just sit down because you've written an abstract, the money runs to you. No. At the moment when a lot of people are running out of jobs, the funding isn't coming in as much as it used to be. It is a moment for us to also widen our thinking, right? There is a lot of work we've all done. I mean, in the Cameroonian context, Northwest, Southwest, then the northern part specifically, there is a lot of work that we've done around humanitarian work, right? Why not widen your knowledge? Why not try and document some of your experiences around the humanitarian scope? Why not try and document those? Do you know that you can also get funding? There is a possibility of you getting funding. Maybe to do in-depth research. Maybe for you to write abstracts that can allow you to go to conferences. In Stephen's introduction, you learned about how some of his works have been presented in conferences. He does not have two heads. You can see him on the screen right now. He doesn't have two heads, right? So if he can do it, what about you? Why do you mean to say that you cannot do research that can take your work at a global scale? In 2025, I presented my work. I co-presented work that we did around climate change in Morocco. Right? That was the international conference, a sociological conference in Morocco, Rabat. So you can do the same. You can do the same. All of these people moving around. And many times these conferences are funded. I mean, I do not mean for fully funded. So there is a lot of people who do not have jobs currently, but they have also quietly migrated into this area of research. They have quietly migrated into this area. They are writing abstracts. They are writing their papers. They are doing research. So yes, do not go there mainly because maybe you want the money, but go there also because you want to contribute to the knowledge base. You want to be an authority in that area. I read something on Ada's status the other day. She said she's going to keep writing until her what her her research gets to policymakers at higher level. I might not be using the exact same words, but I read something like this on her status, right? So what is your objective for writing? Do you want your knowledge to get to the right people? Do you want to influence policy? Do you want to bring to surface some information that people do not know yet? These are some questions which you want to start asking yourself in the meantime. So yes, there is a lot. There is just a lot. Aside the travel, aside the money, there is a lot of opportunities that lie around research, and it starts with the first steps. It starts with making the decision, and it starts also with having the right information. So again, there is going to be a part two, and I'm sharing with you all of this information so that you gear for part two. You get ready for part two, you prepare yourself, you come to part two prepared for the month of August. We didn't want to stretch this session just a lot such that you leave with so much information to digest. There'll be a lot you'll be learning from session two, and that would be a wrap up for this. So I would like to invite Dr. Ada, if she's still on the call, to maybe give us a few words as we prepare to wrap up our today's session. Dr. Ada, are you there? Okay. Okay,
I'm here,
I think
Marita. Can you hear me?
yes, 5 on 5.
Okay, I think you've said a lot of things that I actually wanted to say, and I must say
Hearing
congratulations to
you.
the organizers. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I just wanted to
Okay.
opin you.
I want to say congratulations to the organizers, Steven and Bana. You guys did me so proud. I was so impressed with the way you were able to do the practical sessions and transfer the knowledge. I mean, the only thing I want to say is for the people that are really struggling with research, the thing is, most of us are suffering from the fact that we were taught research as a course in school that you were meant to pass. You were not given the basics on why you should actually do research. You were not given the foundation on why you should be doing research. And also, we were taught research as a course, not as a lifestyle. Research is actually a lifestyle. It's something you do every day. You observe patterns, you observe things, and it pricks your mind and you start being curious. So if you shift your mind away from seeing research as a course, if you shift your mind from seeing research as a thesis and see research as a lifestyle, I think it will be easier for you. And not every research is being published in manuscripts. Now, thanks to the way academia is being flexible, we have researches that are published as videos, as documentaries, as poems, as blogs. So, to the person that is struggling with research, I just want to let you know that research is not a course, it's not a thesis, it's not some kind of dogma that you should live by. It is actually a lifestyle, it is every day. It is everything you do. You research about everything, everything that piques your curiosity. As far as you're a living person, as far as you are still existing, there must be something you wonder about. But now, how do you move from just wondering to doing deeper search about the things that you wonder? That is just basically research. And as a Black person, you should be so proud to be able to contribute to the body of knowledge. And body of knowledge doesn't necessarily mean articles. Again, I'll go to something as simple as poems. That's a way of communicating what you research, videos, everything. So if you're struggling with research, I'm very sure by the time we move to the second session, you would have more clarity on the beauty of research. And like Marita said, there is money in it, there is fun in it, and there is passion in it. You just need to be able to declutter your mind and stop saying research was taught in school. Now we are no longer in school. And just a little advice for those that have finished masters, the best time between your jobless state and when you get a job is to start writing and trying to publish. That is the freest of time you have. That time that you have in front of you, instead of spending it every day grumbling, there is no work, there is no this, put your manuscript together, put your work together and try to publish them. And the good news is, most of us from low income countries like Cameroon, Nigeria, you will publish for free in those big journals. It is a privilege that we have. They call us beggars, we use the opportunity and we publish. So this time that you're complaining and everything, use it to put your work together and then publish. So just know that research is a lifestyle and it's something really, really fun. You're currently doing research with you being in this webinar already. Now, how you decide to take the byproducts of this webinar is totally up to you. Thank you, Marita.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ada. Thank you. Thank you so much. And let me use this opportunity to say that Sankofa, that our partner, is hosting a boot camp starting soon. I've already seen the guests, the trainers who will be taking us through, and I'm saying us because I'll be part of that. I'll be a learner in that boot camp. I had shared that invite to us, and I think links to the WhatsApp group had been shared by email long ago. So if you want to be part of it, which you haven't, maybe you haven't yet joined, let me know after the call and I'm going to share that link with you. I see that there was Dr. Why is, why are names running on my in my face like this? Okay, so any final words? Anybody wants to add something, wants to make a comment, maybe wants to inquire, maybe has a clarification to do before we call it. I don't know if it's a day or an evening or a wrap. Okay, so please, in the chat, we've added the link to the WhatsApp group. That's going to be for those who would like to join the WhatsApp group. Where we'll be sharing the recording of today's session. Please kindly join the WhatsApp group because many times we can't commit to sending the link to you one after another. So please join the WhatsApp group. But more importantly, please share with us your feedback from today's session so we know your thoughts and improve our upcoming sessions. Okay? So thank you very much. I would invite now our guests to give us their closing remarks. Taiwo, since you're first on my screen, can I please start with you? Any final remarks
Ye-
to our participants?
Yeah, I would say thank you for the opportunity that has been given to me to speak about research. It's something I'm passionate about. And I would say what one thing I would say to demystify the myth in research is not a one-way thing. It is not a one-way thing. It is not something that is rigid. It is flexible. So when you are doing research, eliminate that mindset of it is this way I have to do this thing. It is this way I have. There are different ways through which you can do something. And research also, when you come to research, there are different ways through which you can carry out research. So it is very important to have that at the back of your mind. And whatever you put your mind into, even if you don't know it before, you will do it. You will do it with all your heart. I've been in situations whereby maybe I don't know something and I had to use it. For example, during my master's program, for my research during my master's program, I had to learn something while doing the research. So I had to dedicate 3 weeks, 4 weeks to learn the stuff, and then it was what I eventually applied for my work at the end of the day. So it's very important that you should be open-minded when you are doing research, open to ideas, seek advices from people who are ahead of you, because it's very important, because you need mentor. You need mentors who can guide you and put you through. Okay, this thing is not clear. Are there better ways through which I could handle this thing? Because they would be in better position to help you because they have done it in the past. So don't be rigid on yourself. And then one last thing is there's room for collaboration. You can collaborate to write papers. You don't necessarily have to be the one alone writing the paper or writing a particular research work. You can share your ideas with other people. You guys will come together and then you share the ideas and you write the paper, distribute it among yourself on what to handle. When you have the skeletal structure of the paper or the article, then okay, I am good with this. This is my strength. This is your strength. We can better collaborate together and form something that will impact the world. So that's what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for those final words. I appreciate you. Over to you, Dr. Mbana. Your camera is off. I don't know if you mind turning it on.
And yes. So my final words are this, let curiosity drive you, because with curiosity you want to like find out, okay, you have a lot of questions like lingering around. And I also want to say like you should have fun while making a difference, because you need to genuinely enjoy research and let it not be something like you're being like forced to do. I feel like you're not just going to enjoy it, like you should genuinely enjoy it and enjoy the process as well. It might get tough, but just know that at the end of the day, look at the bigger picture of you making a difference in the scientific space. And I also want to say that you should also seek advice. Don't feel like you know it all. Maybe I've published some papers, I've had abstracts accepted for conferences and all that, but I still need to, like, if I get tough, I still, send message to Dr. Ada, like, oh, what do you think about this and all that. Like, you should always, still ask questions. There are people who know things better than you, like you, and there are also like you can't know everything in research. There are parts that you're not so familiar with. So inquire from someone that's more experienced in that part. And also, like Mr. Stevens said, you should always collaborate. Like feel like research isn't something you should be doing or like alone. Like do with other people, and you genuinely enjoy it. And with time, it's going to be something you do with like ease. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for the invite as well. Yeah, it was really a pleasure, and hope to see everyone at the next session and more people as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. What what a nice way to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Dr. Mbana. Thank you so much for those wise words. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the knowledge you shared with us today. I can actually see some comments in the chat. Someone says, thank you, Dr. Ada, for the program. I joined late, but I heard some inspiring statements on research. It's my area of interest, and I'm looking forward to learning more on research that is outside school thesis, dissertation, etc. That's good. And Amber says, now I feel like changing my research topic. Such a mindset shift. Oh my God. Okay, Amber. Um, okay, see you in session two. I guess after session two, you will decide if you're changing, if you're shifting, or if you're adjusting, right? And I guess from session two, we are happy to identify those of you who are interested in refining your topics. We can put you in contact with either Dr. Mbana or Stephen to support you with their permission. So let's see you in session two. And after that, we can see how to support you moving forward. So thank you very much for your very beautiful and very encouraging and heartwarming comment you've left in the chat so far. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much for your support and encouragement for hanging in here. Up until now, we still have 21 out of 31 participants who've been on the call from the start up until this moment. I really, really, really do appreciate you. Dr. Okori, you have a comment in the chat from Emmanuel. Aisha says her two takeaways are to collaborate and to let curiosity drive you. Um, that's great. Please, I want to see all of those on the Google form, okay? So thank you very much, everybody. This is how we're calling it a wrap at this moment. Thank you very much for participating in today's session. It's all about learning. It's all about improving ourselves. It's all about taking up opportunities which are out there. It's about learning the how and how to move our careers a needle forward, right? So thank you so much for coming. Again, this is Career Chats with Nangla and myself, Marita Nangkeng. I would like to wish you all a very beautiful rest of your day, and we look forward to having you in August. Thank you very much, and bye, everybody.
All right. See you in August.
See you in August.
You
Sure.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.